Hey guys, welcome back. Now we are nearly finished with this opening section. You already know how you should study openings. You made your leeches study look perfect and beautiful. You know how to start an opening from zero. You know how to work with courses. So now let's go to the last part, and this is learning by doing. So you want to play games, and whenever you play a game and there is a new move that you didn't analyze yet, you can insert it into your analysis and see what you could have done better. Okay, so here I have just an example, beginner repertoire. This is in this, what you see here is everything you need. If you just start out when you play 1e4, you have knight f6, you have d5, e6, c6, and c5 as moves. So this is just a little example. It doesn't have to look huge in order to be good for the beginning. And now let's imagine that I played the game and I played this bishop c4 move, played the Italian opening, and my opponent played bishop to c5. Now you see it's not in here. So what do? Well, I want to see what I played during the game and where was the first mistake. Now let's imagine after bishop to c5, I played a very weird move, g3. Okay, so let's go here and I see, oh man, g3 was a mistake. I shouldn't do that next time, right? That's not good. So I go one move back and I say bishop c5. Okay, that's a new move. What could we do here? Okay, c3 is a possible move, but maybe also d3 castle. There are many different moves. Actually, one thing that I didn't say in the previous leeches video, you can go here and you can click on multiple lines, so you get two different lines now. You don't only have the best move, you have the best two, right? So you can click here and click from 1 to 5 different moves. I like to. So now we see, okay, actually castle, we know from the opening principles when we can, let's just castle. So let's put castle in. And now one thing that you realize, for example, here, one thing that is important to know is make main line means that you promote the move. Okay, so now castle is the main line, bishop c4, bishop c5. You can also again promote this variation, and then it's only the second variation. So you can play around a little bit and have the most important line as the main line. Now again, let's go back to bishop c5, castle, knight f6, d3. And now actually one thing you might realize, well, didn't we already have this position? Let's go back, knight f6, d3, bishop c5, castle. We actually already had this position in our repertoire. So we keep it simple. That means castle is for sure the smartest way to play in this position for you, because knight f6 is so logical for black, and after d3 you have one position that you have to analyze. You don't have to look at two different positions. No, you just have this position and you can analyze this one. And now maybe you can go a little bit more if you want. You can see, okay, what happens if castles. I have this, apparently this h3 is a move, c3 is a move. Okay, interesting. Last time here we play with knight c3, so I think we would play with knight c3 again. And now after d6, let's say maybe we can try out bishop g5. And that's it. That's already long enough. Maybe it's even too long, right? And so here you finish with, you go back down here and you finish with an evaluation of the position. It's 0.1. Yeah, okay, guys, let's be positive and say we have the initiative, or we can say that we are slightly better, something along those lines. And that's it. We did it. And we can even take a note. Okay, we can note goes into the same position as knight f6 if we just play castle and d3. This keeps our repertoire very simple. Okay, and you see how here after the move you now have this note. And this is very important. The more notes you have, the better you can remember. And yeah, that's how you can play a game and then improve a single move. And obviously, the deeper your analysis get, the more further advanced the new analysis will be. So let's say if the first new move is happening on move 10, then you start from move 10, right? You just start from wherever it is new for you, the first move that you didn't know anymore, if you think that it's important, and then you add something if you did something wrong. Now, you don't have to do that if your opponent plays a completely ridiculous move, right? Let's say your opponent plays b6. Now, on b6, as you can see, we can crank up the lines. Also, we can have 5 different lines. All the moves are good after b6. So we don't need to know what we are supposed to do here. We can just follow our normal plans. Castle, knight c3, d3, a3. You see, any move that doesn't really blunder something is just good for white. So here we don't have to do that. So for ridiculous moves, you don't need to go deeper in your opening analysis, right? You can shortly see what would have been the best one, and you see, okay, this is everything. Then you can go ahead and delete b6, because when you want to think about your openings, or when you want to repeat your openings, you don't need to have b6 in there, right? You just want to have sensible moves in there. And I think knight f6 and bishop c5 in this position, for example, are the 2 moves that you gotta have in there. If not, all the other moves are a little bit weird. Yeah, bishop e7 is a move, but I mean, can bishop e7 really be much better than bishop to c5? Probably not. So we just don't put it in there as well. We delete it from here and we are set to go. And now again, next game we play, let's put these multiple lines back down a little bit on 2. Next game we play, let's imagine opponent, we play e4, opponent plays d5. Okay, we take this pawn. Thank you very much. Now queen takes, knight c3. And now suddenly our opponent gives a check on e2, on e6, sorry. So now what are we doing? Well, again, we can see here the engine line, and we can put up the book. Oh, actually bishop e2 is what the masters are doing. And on leeches we see also bishop e2, but actually a lot of queen e2. But you see, black is performing quite well. So maybe bishop e2 is the right one here, also backed by the engine. Now, to come with a little explanation, this queen already made 2 moves and is placed quite badly because the bishop cannot develop. So we don't want to give them the chance to trade queens. No, we just want to develop, have knight f3 coming, and castle, and play d4 and continue, right? So now we know, oh, okay, on queen e6 check, actually bishop e2 is the move, right? And this also leads probably to the conclusion, if they give a check on e5, the same move is again good. Bishop to e2, then knight to f3. Be careful, there is only one little trick on bishop to g4. We should not play knight f3, because then black can take and we cannot recapture with the bishop. So with the pawn and so on, yeah, right? So first time you will play bishop e2 and suddenly your opponent plays this trick and you fall for it with knight f3. Well, you go to analyze it and then you know, okay, here d4 is the move. And that is very good for white. After queen e6, for example, you can just play bishop to e3 and then recapture. And now you see black just has this queen developed and nothing else. And white, we already managed to develop 3 pieces. We have a strong pawn in the center. We will castle. This position is very, very nice for us. Okay, so that is how you can take games and learn step by step. Really, you don't need to overdo it. Remember to keep it simple, but remember, every game you play needs to be analyzed. And how exactly you analyze the game, this will be in a different section, but I just thought it's so important to conclude this opening section that you know how you improve on your opening analysis by analyzing the games. And that's it. You now know how to create an opening repertoire and how to get better in your openings. And guess what? You don't need 15 different opening courses. You need maximum 1. And that's just so amazing. You will save a lot of time. You will just have the things that really matter in your opening repertoire. You will avoid fear of missing out because you know, oh, I do the things that really matter. I do the things that really matter. I take time for them and I don't need to study 5 different silly opening courses. Okay, guys. Now this section is done. Check out the recommended resources. As always, if there are questions, write them down. You can ask them in Discord if they are questions that really are something about the course, if something is unclear, and then move on, implement what you learned, and we are nearly getting there. Now let's talk about the last phase of the game, the end games. See you in the next video.